Hey, welcome back to the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge, and today we have the Nutcracker and the Four Realms. Yeah, it's from Disney. It's like not acquired from elsewhere. It is an hour and 42 minutes, and it's from 2018. This, I guess, it kind of premiered uh, last year around Christmas. I think I'm not sure when it was added, but this is, I think it was in theaters. I realize it might be a little insulting to the people who made it, but yeah, this actually was in theaters for a short time. I just don't know if anybody much went to see it. I don't know. It's well before COVID, so it's not like it. No, I didn't get to see it because it wasn't in the theaters. Uh, Here you go. I mean, this is a story that's normally associated with Christmas. You can go to like the Radio City Hall in New York City and see their Christmas Spectacular or whatever it's called, and it usually has part of that performance is the ballet performance of the Nutcracker Suite from Tchaikovsky, and all that goes into that. I never really knew or cared about the story. It was more about the performance and the music and the dancing and everything else. I've seen it at Radio City many years ago, like the '90s, I think. And yeah, it was beautiful to see. It was otherwise occupied at the time mentally, but either way, it was a it was a fun experience. This seeks to flesh out the story or create a deeper story from this whole Nutcracker thing. It's not doesn't focus on the Nutcracker. Nutcracker, there is a Nutcracker in this, who is one of the supporting characters, but this is led mainly by Mackenzie Foy right here. Her name's Clara, and she's part of the Nutcracker story as we know it. Uh, and yeah, forgive me. Like I said, I never really cared to understand or know the story. This is sort of a revelation to me. Then it's about ding ding ding, a young girl who's lost her mother. So another Disney trope out the window there, or not out the window, but included because there's always has to be a dead parent in a Disney story for the most part. Um, so this qualifies. Stars this young woman who has recently lost her mother. It's kind of turn of the century, 1900s, early London, and this is by the way, this is a Los Angeles girl. This girl was born in Los Angeles, and she has actually a pretty decent English accent. I'm sure English people would be like, no, it was horrible, but she I believed she was English until I found out that she wasn't. But yeah, she's also, by the way, she's just so freaking pretty. She's been a model most of her young life, and she grew into acting, and I'm like I'm often say that I'm really harsh on kid actors. She's good. She's really good. I believed her, and she had a great presence on screen. So yeah, she's a hopefully she's got a pretty good future in acting. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, she's done a number of things, but this was a big major motion picture for her from Disney for her to be the main character in. So it's kind of a big deal. Um, but like I said, her supporting cast involves none other than Keira Knightley, Helen Mirren, and Morgan Freeman. How would you like that as like one of your biggest first Disney films as your supporting cast? That's kind of crazy. Each of them are wonderful in their roles. Richard E. Grant is also in this. You might recognize him as the older Loki in the Loki TV series. He was also in Star Wars. The new sequel trilogy as one of the Imperial officers. I believe it was just in Rise of Skywalker, if I'm correct. Anyway, yeah, she discovers that her mom. She goes to a Christmas party with her brother and sister and her dad, who is just he's kind of stern, but he is for the most part really despondent because he's a widower now. She just sees him as being a little bit too harsh on them, and commanding and putting on, having a presence as compared to being more loving. And the guy is dealing with heartbreak, but she doesn't see that necessarily. She just sees a dad who is distant and kind of cold, and we see that too. It's obvious that that's how he's dealing with things. But they are invited to a big Christmas party. They're obviously people of wealth, and they know this big inventor who is hosting this party, who is Morgan Freeman. He is kind of a mentor to Clara's mom, or was anyway, and they all have this inventing, engineering kind of gene. They know science, they understand science and everything else, and it's how things work together. She makes a Rube Goldberg contraption to catch a mouse in the very first scene of the film. Just if you don't know what a Rube Goldberg machine is, well, you can look it up, or also watch the very beginning of the film, and you'll see it's usually a complicated contraption that triggers other bits using gravity and physics and everything else to launch other pieces of a mechanism. So she's really good at that kind of thing. She gets that from her mom, and she was not raised, but they were also mentored by this older gentleman who is hosting the party and is obviously rich, and everything he does is almost light years ahead of everything that is available to humankind in London, especially in this era. This guy is the Tony Stark of his time for the most part. He knows his science and his physics and everything else. And she gets a gift from her mother. It's an egg, in a sense, like but it's locked, and she has to wonder how it was a gift from her mom, but she can't open it. So what's the point of it? She's told that inside is everything she'll ever need. And that's frustrating and confusing to her until she is sent. Well, this rich man. I'm not going to tell you the whole story, but I'm just giving you the setup, like I often do. This rich man sends all the kids. He gives gifts to all the children through some sort of complicated thing, and they all have to find. They go into the garden in a maze and have to find a line of string that has their name on it, on a little tag. And once they find it, they have to follow that string wherever it takes them. It will take them to their gift. Where it takes Clara is someplace she never imagined. She ends up in the realm of the flower the flower king, and the sugar plum fairy, and the frosty. I don't know. There's just different realms. There's 4 realms, in fact. Hey, the title. There's 4 realms, one of which is at war with the other 3, and she is tasked with solving their problems because her mother, well, came before her. So it's a realm of magic, and she is still a girl, young woman of science, and how she balances those out and discovers more about her mother and the history of this strange land. It's a very much an Alice in Wonderland kind of thing in a way. It's got so many elements of, that we see in a lot of Disney type things. It does. Part of me is surprised that this wasn't a Tim Burton film. It has a lot of Tim Burton-ish elements to it, without being fairly goth, but sort of goth. It is. There's a lot of CGI. There's a lot of digital effects in this, but there's also a lot of practical stuff that, like moving physical sets and things like that. It looks gorgeous. It's absolutely beautiful to look at. And sometimes I do appreciate that you can't always tell what's digital and what's not. Everything that's big and sweeping, yes, obviously digital. They're not building a city just for this film. It's all digital. But and the animals moving around and things like that, digital. But when they're physically interacting with, a throne room or just different things, It's just beautifully put together. And if it's all digital, then they fooled me, and way to go. That's a mark of some good digital effects, visual effects people. So, hooray! For me, yeah, it's not the kind of movie I think I'd watch again and again, and it's certainly not a thing where I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Christmas, I gotta watch the Nutcracker and the Four Realms. It takes place at Christmas time. It's and that's about it. Because again, for so long we've associated the Nutcracker suite, the Nutcracker ballet, and everything else with a Christmas time tradition, and it's just the way it is. But again, there's no Santa Claus or Jesus or anything else. It's just it's a big fantasy taking place more than 100 years ago, and all the craziness that comes out of it. And she learns who she is in the process, and she grows and she understands where she came from and who she is, and and how to connect with a family that is emotionally falling apart at the loss of her mother. So it's a neat story. Like I said, the effects are gorgeous, and yeah, you get some interesting performances, some fun performances out, especially of Keira Knightley, and Helen Mirren isn't used nearly enough in this film, but whenever she shows up, she looks like she's having fun. Especially doesn't when she doesn't get to play, oh look, another older woman character. I think she really gets into some of these more elaborate fantasy effects kind of craziness. I mean, she was in the Fast and the Furious. She supposedly drove really fast and furious cars. She's a thief in that kind of thing. So she's Jason Statham's mom in that. So anytime you see Helen Mirren, I think it's a mark of some good fun. And of course, looks like Morgan Freeman, who he also wasn't. He has a pretty major part in this film, but he's not in it a whole lot. Mackenzie is in so many scenes. She's in almost every scene in this film. It's kind of astounding. And Keira Knightley acts as somewhat of a best friend mentor in this film from the get go. So, but yeah, it looks like they all had kind of fun doing it. I hope. And hopefully you'll enjoy it too. Like I said, it's not the kind of thing I'm like, oh my gosh, it's just blowing me away. But I think it's still a fun, good one-time watch. That's pretty much all I could say about that. So tomorrow, as we're doing, this is a Christmas series. Heading towards Christmas, I'm picking these things out. I'm not doing a randomized thing like as I usually do. We do movie, short, back and forth, and that was a movie, so we're going to do a short. And the next one up is Prep and Landing, Operation Secret Santa. So we're going to be watching Prep and Landing, these Disney characters that we've seen before. We watched a few of them, one or two of them last year, and this, I think, is a brand new one. So Prep and Landing, Operation Secret Santa is a short. I'll see you back here tomorrow with that on the Disney Plus Everyday Challenge.